More kids have eating disorders than most people may think. A study from USC shows that 5% of children between the age of 9 and 10 struggle with binge eating. Signs of eating disorders are throwing up, to losing weight, exercising, and calorie restriction. And this will lead to irregular adolescent brain development. The study also says that 2.5% of kids avoid eating. For more now on this, we're joined by one of the lead authors of the study, Dr. Stuart Murray at the Keck School of Medicine of USC. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. You guys looked at things like binge eating, dieting. First of all, tell us kind of the most eye-opening things about this study.
Wonderful to be here as well. Thanks for having me. So I think that the main thing about this study was we know how eating disorders affect adults and we know how they affect adolescents, but we don't know the extent to which eating disorders affect young people. So in this study, we really wanted to look at an array of dangerous behaviors, as you beautifully laid out, and disordered eating behaviors in terms of how prevalent they are among kids that are age 9 and 10. And the main thing that we found was that essentially they're more common than we thought, and they're affecting kids at a much younger age than we thought.
Yeah, I think that's surprising because most people think that the eating disorders may happen for teenagers or older teenagers or early 20s, but this is now looking at early adolescence.
Right. I think that's a very common conception that these things onset usually in adolescence when people are sort of experimenting with social media and going through puberty. But what we found is that kids age 9 are becoming very concerned about their shape and their weight. They're oftentimes self-inducing vomiting after meals and also losing control over their eating multiple times per week. And that can be seen in up to 5% of our 9 and 10-year-olds.
Did you guys find that this affects both girls and boys? We typically hear about girls having these issues mainly.
Yeah, we did. That's a really good point. And I think the societal stereotype is that eating disorders generally affect girls and sort of skip the guys. But we found that every single behavior we looked at was equally prevalent in measure and magnitude in boys as they were in girls.
Well, so then for parents here, then what are the warning signs if they might be concerned about their child?
I think that's a really good question. And some of the warning signs that we see are sort of an inability to stop eating once you start, akin to binge eating. And I think that's really important to separate from normal growth spurt related eating. And keep in mind, these kids are 9 and 10, so they go through growth spurts. I think the other key things that we consider as a warning sign are tying food to body shape. So this notion that what I eat will immediately change my shape and my weight. And if you reverse infer that, that can cause some really striking changes in terms of what you eat.
Yeah, this study published in JAMA today, so I want to note that. What do you think the takeaway is here for parents or for anyone that's reading this that might not have a child, but the fact that we're looking at this at children as young as 9, it's just it seems unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really sad as a father of 2 twin 7-year-olds as well to know that this is increasingly common in increasingly young children. And I think the key takeaway for message for parents is to be vigilant with your child's relationship with food. We know that these concerns are starting to develop in this age. And I think normalizing the conversation about how children feel about their bodies, even before puberty, is going to be a good thing.
And in terms of advice, if they do believe their child has an eating disorder, where do they start?
Yeah, I think it's really important to get in early. So if you are concerned, I would say don't wait. And there are some wonderful resources online like the National Eating Disorders Association, which is abbreviated to NEDA. They have some wonderful evidence-based resources for parents and anybody concerned about a young person that would be helpful.
Dr. Stuart Murray at the Keck School of Medicine at USC, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Great work that you're doing and really appreciate your insight.
Thanks so much.